I built a BLE Android app for ESP32 using AI without writing a single line of code. The reason I needed this app was simple: OTA firmware updates over BLE, no Wi-Fi or laptop required. So in this video, here's what we are going to do. First, I'll quickly explain why I even decided to try this. Then we will go to Claude AI and ask it to build the app for us. Of course, things don't go perfectly, so I'll show you the errors we ran into. And finally, we will answer the real question: does an AI generated app actually work for something serious like OTA updates? Or is it all just hype? Stay till the end and don't miss the end notes. Namaste and welcome back to Avinashi Tech. If you have been on this channel for a while, you might remember the BLE based OTA series for the ESP32. In part 1, we focused entirely on the ESP32 side, setting up BLE using Blue Droid stack and implementing OTA functionality. And we even built a Python script using Bleak that allowed firmware updates over BLE, but from our PC. And in part 2, we added some rollback support to it. Technically, everything worked, but even back then, I wanted something more practical. Updating firmware from a PC is fine, but updating directly from a mobile phone, that just makes more sense in real world scenarios. The problem? Android Studio, Kotlin, the learning curve. I tried, but honestly, it slowed me down enough that I eventually dropped the idea. Then one day, with all the buzz around AI tools, especially Anthropic, I thought, why not at least try building a BLE app using AI? What do I really have to lose? So I went to Claude AI. I already had a working Python script, basically a blueprint of what the app should do, and one important condition: I did not want to modify the ESP32 firmware. The app had to work with my existing BLE OTA setup. To run this project, I needed Android Studio installed on my system, and I have the Auto edition right now installed on my PC. Although at the time of recording, Panda is the latest available version. So I explained this whole background to Claude: what we had built, how the Python script worked, and even asked it whether I should share the script. In response, it asked me for the Bleak based Python script so it could translate that logic into a Kotlin based app. Fair enough, I shared it. And then something interesting happened. First, it extracted the BLE service UUIDs and characteristics. Then it started creating project files, Gradle configs, layouts, main activity. It was basically assembling an Android Studio project in front of me. After a while, it gave me a zip file and also function substitutes of the script in the app. An entire Android Studio project. That was impressive. I downloaded the zip file. Inside we had Gradle files, main Kotlin file, layout XML files. As instructed, I opened it up in Android Studio and then Gradle sync started. Later, I even upgraded the Gradle plugin. On the left, you can see the layout files, Gradle scripts, and the Kotlin source files. And if we open the main Kotlin file, all the BLE service and characteristic UIDs from a Python script are already mapped here. So at least structurally, everything looks okay. Before we move ahead, I should mention something. I'm using an older Android 8 device for this particular test. There's no special reason for choosing such an old version. This is just my spare experimental phone. Now let me quickly show you what I did on the phone end. Simple. First I went to settings, about phone, tapped the build number 7 times, and that unlocked developer mode. Once developer options were enabled, all I had to do was turn on USB debugging. That's it. Let's answer the big question now. Will this AI generated project actually run? Nah. Errors. Launcher icon issues. Instead of manually debugging, I simply copied the error and pasted it back into Claude. It responded by generating proper mipmap icon files for different pixel densities and again gave a zip file. Downloaded, extracted, copied the mipmap directory and pasted it into the res folder. Alright, everything's in place now. All the required files are sitting properly inside the mipmap directory. Let me try to run the project again. Another error. This time related to adaptive icon background and foreground. Okay, let's again copy the error, paste in Claude. This time it has added drawable and drawable v24 folders to the project with required files. Alright, downloaded, extracted, copied the to directory and pasted it into the rest folder. Files in place. Let's run the project again. Okay, some positive news. This time the app is installed successfully and launched on my Android 8 device. That's progress. Let's move on to our mobile display to see the app in action. Now, like any BLE app, we first need to turn on Bluetooth and location. On the app, we have search device button. Clicking this discovers and then connects app to our ESP32 device. A .bin file selector to select new firmware binary that has to be written to our ESP32. A progress bar to showcase the packet transfer, and then OTA start button to get started with our Bluetooth transfer. First issue that I can notice is that log message window is not visible. No scrolling too. But for now, let's ignore that and test the main functionality. Let me get ESP32 connected to PC and then open up VS Code terminal. Okay, the basic firmware is running. Let's go back to the mobile app, start with scan, app shows connection status, and terminal also shows connect event message. Alright, let's go ahead and select a bin file. I have LED blinky binary file available with me on this mobile phone. Let's now click Start OTA button. On the terminal, we see OTA acknowledgement sent. Alright, packets have started transferring. Suddenly, at 33% progress on the app, the connection drops with ESP32 and it stops receiving packets. The log messages in the terminal confirms that. But the app keeps going with the transfer. One-sided lover, huh? After a while, it even shows 100%. This is clearly broken. Now, I could have stopped right here and declared AI failed or AI slop. That would make a great clickbait title. But that's not real engineering. In engineering, when something breaks, we don't walk away. We debug, we analyze, we iterate, and we test the limit. So instead of blaming the AI, let's give it a few more chances to prove its caliber. Let's see if it can actually fix what it started. Looking closely at the packet size in terminal, I realized something. The Python script had MTU negotiation, but Claude's app did not. Let's ask Claude to fix it. Add MTU request and increase packet size. We get a response with necessary changes made and another zip file. Downloaded, extracted, then copied the new main Kotlin file and pasted it in the Studio project. Another attempt to run, app installed again. On app, when we scan, this time we can see MTU request being made in the terminal message. Process ahead is same, firmware file select and start update. But again, the app freezed at 33% progress, just like last time. Looks like some timing issue. I raised this issue to Claude and it suggested changes in transfer timing and adding a proper write callback. It provided with the updated code again. So downloaded, extracted, copied, pasted, and let's run the project. Back on the app, we scan, connect to ESP32, make MTU request, then select the firmware file, start with the OTA update. Let's hope it works this time. Alright, past 33% progress, no freeze, packet still getting received on the ESP32 terminal. Finally, total 743 packets transferred and received successfully. ESP32 sends OTA done acknowledgement to the app. The board reboots and now in the terminal we see the new firmware has loaded with log messages LED off and LED on. This is the moment. AI generated Android app successfully performed BLE OTA update on our ESP32. Amazing. But I was still not satisfied and thought we can do better. The first issue remained. Log messages weren't scrollable. So I raised it again with Claude and it asked for logcat logs. The log code was also provided by it and after some back and forth sharing scroll logs, it identified the issue. Eventually, it suggested wrapping the layout in a relative layout and adjusting constraints. I copied, the activity main XML file and pasted it into the studio project. Then tried to run it again, installed again. Back on the mobile device. The app layout is different this time and we have the log window now on the screen. Let's see the use case. Scanning for device. Logged. Connected to ESP32. Again logged. MTU request. Logged. Packets transfer. Logging live. Once the 743 packets transferred successfully, we can see the OTA done acknowledgement exchange in the app log window and the ESP32 terminal window. Lastly, firmware update successful message and an OTA update complete pop notification. Again, the board restarts, new firmware boots, and we see LED on and off messages. Also, in the app log window, we are now able to scroll through the messages as our AI assistant rightly said. Problem solved. Now it feels satisfying. So what do we conclude? Is it time for engineers to pack their bags? Are developers no longer needed? No, we can't say that. AI is a powerful tool, no doubt about it. But without direction and subject understanding, it becomes frustrating very quickly. If I had stronger Android layout or app development knowledge, I could have guided Claude much better right from the beginning. Instead, we went through trial and error, and honestly, it's rarely just the code. It's the debugging that tests you. AI is excellent at removing repetitive coding and reduces the entry barrier. It shortens the learning curve, but subject knowledge still matters. Look at this app, UI improvements, better feature planning, cleaner structure, those come from experience, from knowing what's possible. Also, as complexity increases, you can quickly be trapped in a debugging storm. So yes, subject experts using AI will be the real power combination in the coming years. But engineers who simply rely only on AI without curiosity, without depth, will slowly kill engineering itself. That's my takeaway. I hope you learned something from this journey. If you did, do like, share, and subscribe to support this channel. This is Avinashi Tech signing off.